Hi everyone, my name is Matt and welcome to my channel. Let's paint one of these new Kroot Carnivores with contrast paints and a few tricks. I began with a gray spray primer, and after that dried, I painted a zenithal style effect with my airbrush and some white paint. I made several light passes with the white, focusing more on the top and the sides of the model, and less on the underside. The result is a mostly white model that's lighter on the top, blending to a darker tone on the underside. If you don't have an airbrush, you could just as easily undercoat the model with white or any similar light color and get good results too. For the first layer of paint I used Kroak green. Even though they call this a shade paint, you can still use it for a base coat like any other contrast paint. Work on one section at a time, with plenty of paint, and then go back and use the brush to soak up any excess paint afterwards. I want to add some variety to the skin, so I painted a layer of Nuln oil on the feet. It's really easy to blend out the edge. Just apply a layer of paint, rinse the brush, dry it on a paper towel, and then use the clean brush to blend the paint. I painted the mouth as well and blended the paint in the same way. After the Nuln oil dried, I painted a second layer to deepen the color. Next I painted over all the skin with Mortarion Grime. This is a fairly weak color with a yellowish tone, and painting it over everything will help unify the different layers. I realized I forgot to drill out the bolter hole, and now is a good time to fix it. I painted all the hair and wood with Gore-Grunta fur. Even though I'm using the same base coat for both of these sections, we'll be able to distinguish them with some shading and highlights later. Now's a great time for me to ask you to do those YouTube things that we all love so much. If you're liking the video so far, please give it a like. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on any future content. If you really like what I'm doing here and want to support the channel further, consider being a channel member. We have some perks including a Discord server and early access to videos. Next I shaded the hair with Nuln oil. You may want a second coat depending on how dark the paint dries. Then I painted the leather straps with Wyldwood. I'm not sure what this is, but I think it's a haunch of meat. Either way, that's how I'll paint it, so I gave it a coat of Darkoath flesh. I want to deepen the color, so after that dried I painted a second coat on the bottom half. Then I rinsed the brush, dried it on a paper towel, and used the clean brush to blend out the edge. Next I moved on to all the metal areas, and base coated those with Iron Hand steel. I'm not too worried if some of the paint spills over on any unpainted areas, since I'll be base coating those with opaque paint later. I painted the shells, necklace, and bracelet with Runelord brass. Next I shaded all the metal areas with an equal parts mix of Agrax Earthshade and Nuln Oil, a mix I affectionately call Armor Wash. I use this mix a lot, and I'd really recommend mixing an entire bottle of it. Check out this video here to see how you can mix your own custom color. Moving on to the shoulder pad, I base coated it with black paint. While I had the black on my palette, I painted the holes inside the gun barrel, the eyes, and the string wrapped around the Sunday roast. Then I base coated the remaining leather wraps with gray number 4 from my custom grayscale, and you can learn how to mix it in this video here. If you don't feel like mixing anything, Dawnstone is a close match. Then I shaded those areas with black Templar. I painted the eyes with a dot of toxic yellow, making sure to leave a thin black outline. I noticed this scar on his face and I painted it with Magos purple. At this stage you could base the model and call it finished, but we'll move on and add a few easy highlights. First I highlighted the very edges of the brown leather with Baneblade brown. Next I highlighted the wood with Zandri dust. I tried to keep these lines fairly narrow so they look like wood grain. I picked out the edges of the shoulder pad with gray number 2 from my custom grayscale. If you don't feel like mixing, Eshin gray is a close match. Then I highlighted the shoulder pad and the black leather with gray number 4 from my custom grayscale. If you don't feel like mixing, Dawnstone is a close match. Next I highlighted the ends of the hair with Jokaero orange. I thinned it down with some water into a glaze and painted it in a couple layers to get a blended effect. I painted the edges of the steel areas with Stormhost silver, and I added a few scratches here and there too. Then I highlighted the brass with Canoptek alloy. If you need to touch up any parts of the skin, a mix of Nurgling green and white is really close. The exact ratio will depend on how bright the initial white airbrush layer was. I mixed a really light color and highlighted some of the skin, mostly the top edges. You could thin it down and glaze some highlights on too if you like. Finally, I painted a squad marking on the shoulder pad with white, as well as the stitches on the leather. I used an old brush to apply a generous layer of wood glue to the base. Then I sprinkled on some coarse gravel and fine sand. After the glue dried, I painted the base with a layer of thinned Rhinox hide, followed by a dry brush of Mournfang brown, and then Zandri dust. I painted the rocks with Dawnstone, and then shaded them with a mix of Agrax Earthshade and Nuln oil. I painted the edge of the base black, and after that dried, I applied patches of static grass with superglue. I'd like to give a big shout out to our channel members. Thank you so much for your support. It really is a huge help. If you want to be like these amazing people and help support what I'm doing here, just click the join button down below. Thank you. This Kroot Carnivore was a lot of fun to paint, and I have to say it's really refreshing to paint something for 40k that isn't covered in power armor. Would you like to see more Kroot on the channel, or maybe a different 40k army? Drop a comment below and share your thoughts. Well, that's it for now. Thanks for watching, and until next time, happy painting.